from the current to the future, 2024. Not one, not two. We got some studs, man. Got some 5 stars. Here's what excites me about this. We had a few 5 stars visit last year. We saw that we ended up with one, I guess, in Eugene Wilson and Rashada at one point. Only ended up with Eugene Wilson. But how I look at it is we're casting a net. And the amount of 5 stars that visited last year, there was a handful of ones, but not to this extent, not as many and as frequent, and not as many coming on official visits. Now, the unlimited official visit rule may be helping with that. So it's hard to compare last year to this year's data for sure. However, it's still definitely reasonable to look at. And with Josiah Trader, with who goes to school with Jeremiah Smith and Mylan Graham, all 3 of them. Josiah Trader, I don't know I think he's visiting later in June, but he's been high on the radar for Florida. Jeremiah Smith, we all know, everyone's talking about it. The guy is a I don't know. He is a handful on Twitter, man. It's a dude. He's just playing a game, boys.
I kind of like it though.
He's good, man. He's good.
It's good.
He's killing me, dude. It's killing me because it's like, are you playing us, man? Are you utilizing the love for Florida? Like, don't do this to DJ. It's not necessarily us, but like, I feel bad if DJ's getting played this heavy. I hope he's seriously considering it. And then he's obviously talking about Georgia too. We have a later subject for that. And then Mylan Graham, he visited just the other day. He's there currently. So look, all good stuff. A lot of guys there. Josiah was wearing a Gator shirt during his track meet the other day.
What a troll.
God, dude, it's killing me, man. But these guys are all studs. Would love to have one of them. These guys possibly all might end up all at the same place together. And that scares the living shit out of me. Because where they all might end up together is not trending for us at the moment. So we'll see how it goes. But let me know your thoughts, man. What are you feeling? How are you feeling? And who you feeling the best about so far? And real quick before you go, Dave, make sure you guys drop a like, show some love. Below the comment section up. It lets everybody YouTube know that we're doing a good job and you guys love what we're doing here. So I appreciate you guys coming out and hope you are enjoying the new layout. Let us know. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, I mean, I can't pinpoint one receiver that I would think that would be closest to Florida than the other one because it's just so early. You got Jeremiah Smith there that's, at Ohio State committed there, and he you can kind of tell he's still pretty solid on Ohio State, but you can tell he's got some wandering eyes there too. But just by how he acts and social media and all that. But he could just be playing with us too. I kind of like it. It's kind of comedy. But the other 2 guys, Josiah Trader, and I can't even pronounce the other guy's last name, but if you're not having them visit, then you're not in it, right? So it's like if you don't buy a lottery ticket and you don't scratch it off, you don't know if you're going to win or not. So
sure.
To get these guys in here just for a visit, mainly if you can get them June 2nd with a lot of the other commits that are committed to Florida, that'd be even better. But just getting them on campus, getting a visit, let them get a feel. I know that one of them said, I haven't been to the campus yet. I want to see. I wanted to go one time, couldn't go. So now I'm going to go.
Josiah.
Yeah, it was Josiah. So, if you can give them a good experience, especially somebody that has not been there before, and they can kind of be like, oh my, I've never been here before. I finally experienced it. It was way better than all the other visits I've ever been on. What was I missing out on? That could happen. And that's the joys of recruiting is you get these kids on campus, but you stay in their ear and you try to get them to keep coming to your campus. Obviously, we all know that NIL and bags and all that other kind of stuff are involved too, but you want to keep them interested because if you don't keep them interested, they're obviously going to go somewhere else. That was something that Dan Mullen was really, really bad at, was keeping kids interested. He had other people texting as him on his phone. That was a funny story. But, Billy Napier has shown a keen ability to stay on top of high school. Now, I'm not going to give them the benefit of the doubt in the transfer portal because they didn't prove that to me this second go around. But as far as like high school kids, Billy Napier is 100% on top of these kids all the time, and it's just a matter of time of whether they choose Florida somewhere else. You hear Jeremiah Smith visiting Georgia, and he's going all these other places. I think he said he was going to go to, what was it, Penn State or something? I think I saw earlier today. So he's taking his visits. As long as you can get them on campus, you're in the game. But you just got to close.
Yeah, look, I was just showing Mylan Graham there. He's the, and I'll go back to his page here actually real quick so you guys can see it some more. 4th rated wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith being their first rated. I know Wingo, the Tennessee commit or favorite right now, looking at Georgia as well. Again, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But this is the kid that was there this past week. Just a few days ago is Mylan Graham. And as you can, Mylan Graham, 6'1", 170. Obviously, Brian Hartline is going to be a big pull, but right now, Mylan Graham and Jeremiah Smith, the 1 and 4 wide receiver, are both committed to Ohio State. Remember, Jeremiah Smith committed to Ohio State shortly after Dylan Raiola committed there. And again, we're going to kind of dabble into that here shortly, but it seems now they have Aaron Nolan. They didn't go back and just kind of fill it in with a slouch quarterback. Aaron Nolan does have a lot of praise, but is it a DJ Lagway? Is it a Dylan Raiola? Not quite. That is what it is. Brian Hartline is the heavy pull, in my opinion, right now for Ohio State. You were mentioning precast about the possibility of Brian Hartline possibly going elsewhere. So that's also a thought as well. Talk about that a little bit.
I was just mentioning if he were to go to the NFL, if the NFL was to say, hey, look, whatever. I've heard people talking about it. Well, maybe he could go into the NFL. Maybe that's why they're taking visits. But I'm not going to throw that rumor out there because I don't know anything whether he is or not. But I've heard that. Like, what if they get an inkling of he goes like him going to the NFL? Those receivers probably aren't going to stay. And if they do stay, they stayed for Ryan Day. But I mean, like as long as we can pull one of those, I'm happy with it. But we don't have to pull all three. I mean, you got to get the elites to your campus and get them interested, at least get them to visit. Because if you don't get them to visit, you don't try to at least attempt something, you're not going to land them anyway. So for what the staff's doing, I'm okay with it. But it's going to be a long time, especially those really elite kids, especially, I mean, you got Aaron Nolan, Dylan Raiola, and DJ Lagway. Those are all 3 elite quarterbacks. You can't just say, as Florida, you can't just say, hey, we got DJ Lagway. Hey, you need to come to us. We got DJ Lagway. Well, they got an elite recruit there too. They got an elite quarterback at Georgia. So that's going to be a battle, man. That's going to be a battle to the end. And I think Smith's commitment, if he were to quote unquote flip anywhere, I think it would go all the way to the end.
I totally agree. And I think what we got to realize too is Billy Gonzalez being the new wide receiver coach. That's a big factor as well too. He has to build a relationship with these kids. I read about where he's building with Josiah Trader. I'm sure he's building with Jeremiah Smith. So we're behind the 8 ball in that regards from the wide receiver core. So I think we've done a great job this 2023 class. We've heard a lot of praise for him. Hopefully that speaks volumes to these kids because these kids weren't recruited by Billy Gonzalez. But let's say they come out and they start early and they're balling and they're hooping. You got to credit that to Billy Gonzalez because he's had them basically since the beginning.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, look at his resume. I mean, all he has to do is go to those kids and be like, look, man, I had Percy Harvin, I had all these other guys, even the LSU guys he coached over there. I mean, he's got one hell of a resume. He's still in the game. I mean, he might be a lot older, but he's still young enough to be coaching for a long time. So, I mean, you've got Hartline with one hell of a resume. You've got, Billy Gonzalez with one too. So you just have to, I don't know, man. I don't know how recruiting goes. I don't know what they say to those high schoolers when they get to campus, but I mean, flashing that resume along, with whatever Hartline has, it's pretty neck for neck there.
Yeah, Hartline's definitely up and coming, but Billy's got some old resume builder in there. But Ushi has a great question. He says, whatever happened to Elijah Rushing? Dude, when we were talking about 2024 early on, we had like the 100% commit next to Elijah Rushing. I just looked at his 247 profile. We're not even in like the warm anymore. Like we're not even up on the list. I don't know what happened. I couldn't tell you. We're cool. I don't know. I don't know.
I have not heard anything about Elijah Rushing, so I would probably just
kiss that one goodbye. That one sucks, but it is what it is. Great point here too. William says if Smith comes to Friday Night Lights, he comes to UF, but Dylan Raiola is not recruiting players like DJ right now. I don't think he has. I don't think he's done the same. Colin Simmons, the edge rusher, I believe, he even made the comment. He's like, nobody's recruiting like DJ is. He's recruiting better than some colleges, and I love hearing that. That excites me. You got to think that pays dividends here eventually.
Well, I mean, it does pay off. I mean, you're going to be playing with that guy. That guy's going to be, well, if he's not throwing to you, you're still going to be playing with him, right? So to get like the team and the commitments that in your ear and have them all be on the same page, that helps a lot, especially with coaches, because coaches can just do coach speak to a lot of these guys. Like the guys that are actually committed can tell you how great it is and how honest these people are. And they get more of a sense of trust when their own kids that are committed talks to them and they're just like, okay, well, maybe they're not giving me coach speak. Maybe it is this great. So it's always good to have, like, especially the quarterback, the leader of the team, to be in a lot of elite recruits' ears.
And I think Dave and I made the point to say Jeremiah Smith is always good in our book because of his debacles with the Miami fans on Twitter and showing some praise for Florida. So
yeah, I like
no
that
matter
too.
what Jeremiah does, he's always good in our book. He's cool. He's cool with us.
Get him on.
Yeah, bro, I would love to. Like, hey, you can go troll me, man. I don't care. Whatever. What do we need to do?